I was thinking this morning about the terrible tragedy that has befallen our community. Loss of a teenager. It's affected my own family. I can't even begin to imagine the pain that his family's going through. And I've had several people reach out to me about their own kids and kind of trying to answer questions. And one of the questions that I think a lot of people have is why would God do this? And I just wanted to remind you of a truth that maybe you don't even know. God didn't do this. Now, there are some passages in the scripture that say things to the extent of like that God has set our days, that he's numbered our days. But the authors are really just trying to say that you don't know how long you have in this life. They're not intending for you to believe that God does evil in this world and that he brings pain upon people, because that's not who God is. As a matter of fact, what the scripture says about him is that every good gift comes from him. Now, what God does know is he does know the number of our days, and he does know when our end will occur, but he's not the one setting that end. And even that, I think there is some choice that happens. There's a passage that reminded me of this in 1 Samuel 23 that I read today, where King David prays to God, and he says, if I stay here, will these people turn me over to Saul, who's trying to kill him? And God says, yeah, they'll turn you over, and you will die here today. And so David leaves and he goes somewhere else, and he doesn't die. He does everything that God predicts does not come true. It doesn't happen. Why? Because David makes a choice. See, the reality is, what you need to tell your kids is, unfortunately, we live in a fallen world where sin reigns, and where there are all kinds of terrible things that happen. Accidents happen, and they are not God's fault. As a matter of fact, where God is he is right there with us, wanting to walk through those things with us. That's his promise. As a matter of fact, Jesus said, in this world you will have trouble, but I am leaving you my peace. I'm giving myself to you. That is actually what every Christian is promised, that we will go through things, that we will suffer, that there will be really hard things that we have to endure. But the promise of God is that he came to rescue us by coming to live inside of us and to give us a means to engage with the living God and know him. And so this morning, I just wanted to encourage you with that. If your kids are struggling with those concepts, please don't say the kinds of things that people say where they're like, well, God must have just needed an angel in heaven. That's not comforting. That makes God look like a villain, and he is not a villain. If you look at the story of Lazarus in the book of John, Jesus weeps when he finds out his friend is dead. He knows he's going to resurrect him from the dead. And you can bet your bottom dollar he's going to resurrect anyone who has followed him from the dead at some point in the future. But Jesus, in the moment while his friend is dead, he weeps over it. That's who he is. He is weeping over this loss. He is weeping with our community. He is brokenhearted. So don't push your kids further away from God today when they need him most. Draw them into the God who is the God of comfort, who is the God who said, blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. He knew we were going to mourn. He knew death was still going to be a thing. He came to overcome it ultimately through becoming the life and the resurrection. But that's not yet. That's in the future. So turn your kids' hearts to Jesus. Turn your own heart to Jesus right now. Bring a revival of God into this community, into this place. And man, I'm praying for y'all. I love you guys. I hope that helps.